My name is Don Surdoval, and I am the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of STORIS. I've been here for 35 years.
My name is Doug Culmone. I am President and Chief Operating Officer here at STORIS. I joined the company in 1998, which I think puts me here somewhere around 27 years.
I'm Al Chambers. I'm the CFO of STORIS, and I started 26 years ago.
My name's Dom Costantino, Vice President of Engineering Services. Been here 37 years.
My name is Marilyn Durning. I'm the Senior Vice President of Client Services, and I've been at STORIS for 31 years.
So the other founders would include Ira Bax. He was a co-founder of mine, and we started the business together and worked with one another for a good 15 years before Ira unfortunately took ill and passed away. And another key player would be a gentleman by the name of Kevin Hond. Kevin Hond was the technical lead to the foundation of our product today. I joined Ultimate Corporation in 1986, where I had been relocated down from Rhode Island. Prior to that, I worked in the PC industry, selling corporate accounts to companies like RCA at the time, McGraw-Hill. I got recruited and transferred down to the Ultimate Corp, where Ira had just had this little software product as a small little division, and I got involved in it. And the next thing you know, we made a decision to purchase it from Ultimate, which was a publicly traded company, and STORIS was founded.
STORIS ERP essentially runs every aspect of a home furnishings retailer's business, from the point of sale environment on the floor to inventory control, merchandising, buying, accounting, business intelligence, e-commerce, really everything that the retailer needs to sell, deliver, service their customers. STORIS is providing the tools to do that.
I'd say that the ERP application was built in collaboration with customers of all sizes, not just our large customers. We would collaborate and get great suggestions from customers of all sizes. And again, our mission was to listen to the best ideas, allocate our resource and programming capacity and development capacity to deliver those enhancements to folks. And it just worked. And a lot of it was humbly being in the right place at the right time. The founding of STORIS in 1989, when software was really just beginning to grow as an industry, we were just well positioned. And if I could give us credit for something, it would be that we were good listeners.
I got interviewed by Ira Bax, who at the time was the owner of the company, along with Kevin Hahn, who was in charge of the engineering department. I interviewed with them in a diner. They asked me a lot of questions. I thought the interview went really well until the very end of the interview, when Ira asked me if he could talk to my boss currently. And I looked at him and was like, I didn't know what to say. I said yes. So needless to say, I went home. I told my wife, I think I better find another job quickly because I think I just lost my job.
Dom Costantino started with STORIS when we were still part of Ultimate. Dom wanted to do the best he could for his family, his daughter Christy, his son Steven, and he was a talented technician and developer. He had been recruited from Ultimate from ADP to come work over there. And when STORIS was first being founded, Dom was one of those people we had to have. And I'm happy to say that we've grown old together, but he has done a spectacular job and he's been foundational to the success of STORIS. And I think those are the successes that for us at STORIS matter most. He's been a great partner. The company wouldn't be the same without him, and we love having his daughter there.
My biggest challenges when I first started at STORIS were mostly personal and to a lesser degree professional. On the personal side, I was 22. I was moving away from all the family and friends that I knew to the other side of the country. I had signed a contract with STORIS that I would stay here for at least a year because my moving expenses were covered as part of the job offer. And I had a grand total of $700 to my name. My memories of Don when I first moved here, what really sticks out to me is how much time he spent to make sure that I felt comfortable after moving across the country, and just really for that first year stayed very involved with me to make sure that I settled in and was comfortable here at STORIS.
So Marilyn is just a great example of one of the joys for me of the past 35 years. I met Marilyn, I think she was 19 years old. She lived in California, and in a meeting that I had with her, just realized that this woman was extremely gifted, extremely intelligent, hardworking, with just great character traits, and as far as being humble, wishing to serve others. We recruited her, we brought her across the country from California, where she was very happy, to New Jersey. I don't know if she's completely forgiven me for that, but she has grown from being a spectacular systems tech to running our systems department to now our senior vice president of client services. And I've not met a woman who cares more about her clients, who is willing to be disrupted to serve clients when people are in need, their systems are down, to care for fellow employees, to help mentor them, and give them the kind of communications that they need so that they can grow. And it's just been a real treat to work with her. I just don't know what her limits are.
In Connecticut, I worked for a company called Hitchcock Chair. I had a number of different roles there, but towards the end, I was vice president of operations, and we made a decision to implement a new retail software point-of-sale solution in our retail operation, and I was in charge of that initiative. We looked at a couple of different software companies. STORIS was one of them. We created a team to try to make the best decision for our business, and during that process, I got to know not only STORIS, the software, but the folks that run this company as well. Hitchcock then operated on the STORIS solution for about 4 years, and at that time, I made a decision that I was looking for a different career opportunity, and I wound up accepting a position in South Jersey. And right around that time, STORIS was having a user conference, which I attended on behalf of Hitchcock, and I was saying my goodbyes to the folks I had made friends with at STORIS, and found myself in a conversation with Don, and he suggested if I was leaving Hitchcock anyway, why not come to STORIS? And I wound up changing my mind, and here I am.
You know, Doug Culmone it's hard to put words around this guy. So Doug, too, was a customer. We had a good working relationship while he was with Hitchcock Chair, but he told me he was leaving. And I remember distinctly sitting there when he told me that. Quite honestly, I was dumbfounded that they would allow him to go, but he was moving from Connecticut to New Jersey and wanted to take on more responsibilities to grow his career. He has a burning desire to care for people, to help people, and it was his turn to do the best he could for his family. And in that meeting, I said to him, I said, Doug, time out here. Before you just go ahead and move to New Jersey, maybe you ought to talk to us. Like, we would love to have you come work with STORIS. We'd love to have you on our team. And we acted quickly. We made a decision, gosh, I think it was within 24 hours, that we were going to get Doug Culmone, and we were going to convince him that if he was moving to New Jersey, he was going to move to northern New Jersey, and he was going to be part of STORIS. And we did. And gosh, the rest is history. He has grown from running client services to being the chief operating officer, now obviously the president. He's a workhorse. He's a man of values. He's a man that our employees love to spend time with. They trust him. Our customers trust him. And this company would not be the same if it weren't for that opportunity to have recruited Doug Culmone.
Business partnerships are tough, and they have a very high failure rate, and I understand why that is. But Don and I, even though sometimes we see things differently, we have a lot in common. We generally are always on the same page when it comes to where we want to go and what the goals are. And we often have different ideas about how to get there, but that can be very healthy. And at the core, we have a deep respect for one another. And he has a tremendous work ethic, and he's always there for me when I need him to support me. And he's someone that I trust very much. And if you have trust and respect in a business relationship, you have a high probability of success. And I think that's what makes it work for us.
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and I've lived in Jersey since I'm 10 years old. Went to college, met my wife, and we reside in Parsippany, New Jersey, with our 5 children. I went to St. Peter's College in Jersey City, and I studied accounting. I met Ira Baxt at a party in the summer of 1998. We struck up a good conversation, and in that conversation, I feel like it turned into an interview. I just didn't know I was participating in an interview. But at the end of the party, we parted ways. 3 months later, I got a call from STORIS asking me to come in and meet with Donald Surdoval.
Here is an example of another guy who had a very humble upbringing, who is just family driven and oriented, will literally do anything for his family, to protect and to preserve them. And he will work tirelessly. He's extremely intelligent, is a true professional and knowledgeable as it relates to his knowledge of accounting and finance and legal and HR. He's a student of all by continuing reading to them. But his core values and love of family probably is the thing that sticks to me the most. And as such, having him part of our family, he serves us similarly.
It means a lot to me to be in the position that we're in, to be perpetually on one of the best employers in New Jersey list every year. And it was a lot of work to get here. But it's very satisfying to look back and say, I'm glad that we've completed this journey, or at least the journey getting us to where we are today. I think we have a long way to go. There's a lot of things that we can do better, but coming from where we were to where we are has been a very satisfying process for me, and a lot of hard work went into it from a lot of people.
I believe that we've been able to have the tenure that we have significantly because of the core values coming from the top of the company. They truly care about the employees' happiness, the growth, and when you know that you're supported in what you do personally, professionally, you're bound to grow.
One of the things that I'm probably the most proud of over the past 35 years is our employee retention. When we look at success, we often look internally as to the number of people who've been with us for a lot of years. STORIS has provided a great opportunity for people to raise their families, have a great life, and at the same time work hard and have the dignity and self-actualization for the things they've been able to produce. So as it relates to my children, gosh, what a gift. You couldn't have asked for it to be any better. My vision was never to necessarily require any of the children to be involved in the business, but the decision was always there that we wanted them to understand what the company was, how their college tuitions were paid for. After several years of both Donnie and Caitlin and working in different careers, they each individually and separately made the decision to come to STORIS.
I'm Caitlin Dean, and I'm a director here at STORIS.
My name's Don Surdoval, SVP of Product and Engineering, and I've been with STORIS for 11, going on 12 years.
There's a couple of things that come to mind as far as some of the challenges that lay ahead joining the marketing group at STORIS. One of them was there was an older reputation that STORIS was just for the big guys, and we were really only interested in serving and talking to retailers who did a certain sales volume or had a certain reputation in the industry. And after meeting so many of our customers who had been customers of ours for decades, it was very obvious that that wasn't the case. We served from all corners of the industry, electronics and appliance industry. It wasn't just the top 100 Furniture Today retailer list. And that was a challenge ahead to make sure that the industry really knew who we were, what core values we operated by, and how we could service retailers of all sizes.
When I joined STORIS 10 years ago, we've evolved, in those 10 years a lot, I think, since where we were and what we were focused on and what the marketplace looked like and who our competitors were. And it's fun to look back at kind of where we were and the focus and energy of the teams at that time and where we got to kind of today. So our ERP solution is the bedrock of what we do as an organization. And our next-gen solution is really the modern experience that our retailers are demanding from us in the marketplace, and that keeps us competitive as the competitive landscape has evolved over these last several years.
When we talk about next gen, it's really two things. It's first, it's definitely a new vision of a technology stack that's allowing us to build technology and to maybe re-engineer some of the things we've built into different technologies, but it's also really automating processes that we had never done before. All right, we took over at the time the order was created, but there's a ton of work that needs to be done to help salespeople grow and become more efficient before the customer places an order, and NextGen shines in that space.
I think it's part of what helps us win that dual combination of a time-tested core and foundational solution, our ERP, and a really dynamic, modern, mobile-first experience in our next-gen capabilities.
I think my purpose today is to make sure I provide the next generation of leaders with the knowledge and experience that we've developed over the past 35 years, to make sure that we transfer responsibly to them the core values and methodologies of how we ran our business successfully, so they can build on those and they can take those that we consider to be foundational and use them for the next 35 years.
Looking ahead for leadership in the next 35 years, the challenge is really to keep our pulse on what our industry and our partners need and challenge ourselves with our core values, with the inspiration of the past 35 years, and how to be even better partners, how to make our retailers more successful, and how to evolve with what the industry is going to look like 35 years from now.
Don, as a leader, sets a high standard for the level of attention to detail and engagement with the people that are part of making STORIS a success. He really cares a lot and cares a lot deeply about our teams and how our teams are doing. It's certainly informed a lot of the way I think about leadership as I move into those kind of roles myself.
Donnie is really a tremendous leader. He's a very smart person. He thinks quickly, he questions everything, and he's a great problem solver. And what excites me most about him as the future leader of this organization is that he's very intuitive. Things come naturally to him. He understands people, he understands situations, and it just seems to come naturally for him to understand how to react to situations. And that's really important in this business.
I do feel, as a next generation leader at STORIS, a responsibility to the people who've worked hard to make STORIS a success that it is today. And we're celebrating our 35th year in business as a software company. I think that's a huge accomplishment. And we have a lot of team members, a lot of partners, a lot of customers that we want to do well for and by for the next 35 years too. And that'll require the same amount of focus and hard work that the 35 years behind us have taken from the teams that really led and drove that effort put in. And so I do feel a responsibility to that. I want to give STORIS a 35-year future as well, and it'd be fun to celebrate 70 years as an organization, and we'd be really proud of that as a software company.
I would like to express a heartfelt thank you to all of the employees who have helped make this organization what it is today. I get some of the credit for sitting where I do and the title that I have, but the truth be told is that none of this would have happened if it weren't for the staff. And it's not just Doug Culmone or Al Chambers or Dom or Marilyn. There's 150 of them out there, and I could list off a ton of names, but I'd fear I'd miss one and I'd feel bad about it. So I'm not going to call out any additionals, but we have been blessed with great employees, people who have made this past 35 years the best part of the journey for me. I'm working with them, watching them grow, watching them thrive. I thank you, I thank you, I thank you.
Happy 35th anniversary, STORIS.
Happy 35th, STORIS.
Happy 35th anniversary, STORIS.
Happy 35th anniversary, STORIS. Let's do another 35.
And happy 35th anniversary. Congratulations.
Happy 35th anniversary, STORIS.
On behalf of my family and on behalf of all of us here at STORIS, we thank you.